It's the Movie Toasty Show, here for you. Dennis and Adam joke about orgasms and sweet movie reviews. We talk about TV too, right?
I think so.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah! Movie Toast.
How's it going, everyone? Dennis, it's nice to be in the room with you for episode 195.
Yeah, that it is. It's good to do it again. It's
yeah.
been since one to
Gotta learn to
yeah.
fucking mute. Oh, yeah. We gotta get a message saying that we're going live on
there we go.
YouTube. I'm well aware of that. Thanks.
Yes. Appreciate
Phone.
it. Appreciate it. Notification.
Great way to start the episode, huh?
Yeah. Well, hey, coming at you from Comic-Con in San Diego. As you can see, it's nice to be in the same room again together, recording another episode with you.
Now, it's going to be a little different this
Yes.
episode because we got these little lab things because we didn't want to have to dig into the mic and be face to face with it.
Try to make it the most bearable audio
Trying to make it
format as we could for you guys.
So it might be different, and we're not doing polls, we're not doing news. We're just going to give you a recap of our Comic-Con experience and a few television series reviews and film reviews.
Yeah. We had some fun out here, and I know you're an old hat at this game, but it was my first trip out here, and gotta say it was fun to here to experience it with you for the first time.
It's good.
So
I mean, being sick the first day wasn't fun. And then me being a cynical bitch because it's not as good as the previous ones. It's like, fuck you. It was a free pass.
I had fun. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I said, different experiences, but
it was good. Overall, it was a fun little trip.
Yeah, fun little trip. It was 5 days actually. Like,
God.
Although I know you had a rough time coming in with the flight coming in.
Yeah, but at least I showed up on the day I was supposed to be here, so that's a plus.
Got to check out preview night, which was just basically just walking the expo floor.
Hell yeah.
But again, it was just kind of that lean in. My only other previous experience to this was WonderCon, which we did earlier this year. But that was a good warm up. Like this is what you're.
This is the big show.
Yeah, and finally got to experience that. And man, it is big. But no, it was cool. There's a surprising amount of just not only film coverage, but just anything else under the sun that was relevant to interests, media-wise, entertainment-wise.
I mean, you did point something interesting out. The lack of cosplays this con. Normally there's a lot, but there's none, it feels like. There's some, but we saw a ton at fucking Anaheim.
So what's funny is on the shuttle ride back tonight, there was this couple, a couple seats in front of me. Like there was the first 4 or 5 rows, we were all just kind of having this open discussion, and they were all talking about difference between Comic-Con, WonderCon, and I finally I kind of interrupted. I was just like, hey, this is my first year doing both of these things, and I noticed there's way more cosplay at WonderCon, and there's very little at Comic-Con. And I was curious what that might. And the wife of this one couple who they cosplayed together normally was like, oh yeah, because it's so hard to walk around.
That makes sense.
And she was like, no, that's immediately it's just harder to just get around the crowd in WonderCon or Comic-Con, whereas WonderCon, it's like this understood, everyone gathers at the fountain out front, those front steps, and because it's so photogenic and the lighting is so great out there, so that makes a lot of sense. But it's just so wide open that it lends itself.
And I will say, it's still refreshing since the pandemic. It's still not as busy as it has been in the past, which is an upside. And upside of last year, well, not upside of this year, opposed to last year, you're actually having more people and more things since there's not all these strikes happening, which is nice.
For sure. Oh yeah, no, that's very true. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. I mean, I will say downside, we had no interviews that we did, but we got to enjoy the con, so that was the upside.
And there's still a lot to take in. There's still a lot of new information getting dealt out. I mean, we'll talk about as we get in the list. There's premieres of a couple of things, some new teaser trailers and stuff that it was fun to kind of be among the crowd to see it for the first time, even if it wasn't like the Hall Age.
Which
Marvel,
I mean, let's talk about that for a minute, huh? What the hell?
Every single day, it's what 3 to 6 hours of sitting in line for a wristband to come back the next
Well, I
day.
just mean I'm talking about the Marvel panel that we
yeah.
missed, man.
I did see the social media posts.
Yeah,
That's intense.
right.
I gotta say, I'm excited to see this new version of Doctor Doom. Was not expecting.
The nice reveal there they had.
Yeah, Robert
Now,
Downey.
is there anything in the comics that like Stark was ever doomed?
No.
Okay.
I 100% believe this is just Robert Downey Jr. saying, "I'm done playing."
Well, I guess normally
Stark.
if you're Doom, you're in the mask the whole time.
You never
so
see his face.
But yet at that point you could have anyone. But I guess
And his voice, I
yeah.
100% believe will be like modified somewhat.
True.
This is just for him to do something.
And the
like
fact that now it's Avengers Doomsday, yeah, and
the Russo brothers. I was seeing some things online. It's like, well, yeah, why not just get the formula back together?
yeah, it worked.
Let's bring
last 4
Robert Downey
movies
back.
they made.
Let's bring the Russo brothers back. Let's make another Juggernaut again. I'm like,
and they announced that the Fantastic Four will be in those 2 films, which of course they would. Why wouldn't they? And then they announced that the title of Fantastic Four is Fantastic Four First Steps. That's a little weird, I think, for a title, but
because we've only seen the first Fantastic Four movie a few times.
But what's kind of baffling me, they've already said like the New York that we're seeing in the Fantastic Four First Steps is going to be like back in the day. And so I'm wondering now that they're going to be in the current Avengers movies, are they time traveling because they're going to look exactly the same as they did, or are they going to age them up?
Dude, we've crossed dimensions. I don't know.
Yeah, all right, yeah.
So they've kind of just thrown so many things against the wall at this point that I don't even want to bet money on it. One of the things that came up in the Hellboy panel that we were at today, that was one of the comments the director made about his gripe with a lot of the comic book influenced films getting released these days, was like, when you start adding in so many of these factors, you start to lose sight of the storytelling itself. And now it's like, I'm going to sell you on a trilogy you haven't even watched yet.
Yeah.
And the multi-dimensional aspect, the time traveling aspect, it's like those tactics, those gimmicks and stories can be interesting done in
right.
moderation.
Yeah.
But when it's like you're basing the whole universe off of anything could happen at any time, always, and we can just go back and rewrite everything again, just like the comic books and like especially Marvel has done too many times lately, it gets a little old. So maybe it is Tony Stark turned into Victor Von Doom. I don't know.
But it's still pretty cool move, I guess.
Let's see how it plays out.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go see it.
100%.
Let's be honest.
And apparently they dropped the trailer for Thunderbolts, but I don't know if it's online yet.
Oh shit. Okay.
I'm wondering if it was just Hall H.
Damn. I did see when they started showing the trailer for Captain America at the Marvel booth on the exhibit floor, because I'd start walking by and just see the crowd just form around the base of it. And as soon as the trailer was over, it would all disappear back out.
Nice.
And I was just like, oh, hey, Indiana Jones talking to Captain America.
Now he is he's the Thunderbolt, right? Harrison Ford.
If he's is it Ross Thunderbolt?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it looks like he ran for president and won.
Yeah, and then he becomes the Red Hulk. It's like, what?
I'm not as familiar with the Red Hulk storyline, because I know Red Hulk is Thunderbolt in the original books, but he's also like infamously one of the hardcore Hulk villains.
Yeah, that's why I find it weird that our president is now.
Oh, he was always the military, like he always came from a government side.
Yeah.
So I
guess.
I mean, that's what the comics did. I'm just saying, I don't know how they're going to figure it out in the movie.
True.
Because clearly Captain America's, I mean, he's standing in the White House, so he's got pulled. We're missing a big chunk of the lead into whatever this is setting up. I'm sure that's what the first act of the movie is really going to illustrate before they're going to drag out before we finally see Red Hulk. I firmly
see. I'm not sure if I think they might have dropped a new trailer today with Red Hulk in it.
Oh, okay.
But what, it doesn't matter. We weren't there. Let's get into, I guess, the stuff we were actually there for. Sorry.
Oh no, it's all good. Because I mean, it's topical. That was the hot thing. That
pretty much. Not
hearing
a
about
lot
it
of
coming back.
big breaking news this con either, which is odd.
That was the only thing that I was literally hearing just being murmured around on the floor as I was walking through. I mean, fuck, I got back to the shuttle driver. She was talking about how my Instagram has this video. And she's just, did you guys see it? Did you guys see it? I'm like, no, because we're sitting here now. So we didn't spend an entire day waiting in line for something.
It would have been nice
for one thing, but
anywho, so yeah, we did a lot of activations starting our week. It was kind of fun.
Yeah, there was a couple of cool bar experiences. We'll call them because they weren't bars. At least one of them wasn't.
True.
But first off was that going to Moxie's bar, which came from the world of Borderlands, which is the new film coming out that we've mentioned before in the show, and I know is getting a decent amount of hype finally, a little bit, at least
here.
Some conversation, here there's some conversation happening.
I mean, it's coming out in a week,
right?
2 weeks.
But
that was a cool little thing.
It was a cool space.
Look interesting.
I mean, I've only played through Borderlands 2 for the most part, and there's elements even I was recognizing, taking in. They brought in music and visual elements. They had people dressed up as characters. There's custom cocktails. They had some carnival games and stuff going on in there. It was a pretty cool experience. They really pulled it in. They took a lot of the elements that you should recognize from that world and surrounded you in it.
Yeah, it was immersive.
And
then we bailed out of that. We didn't do the carnival things because there was the 20th anniversary Winchester recreation for Shaun of the Dead.
Yes. Yep. We did. There was a little Shaun of the Dead experience where they were promoting the Funko game that they're a part of, and that was down the street.
Yeah, it wasn't too far.
In a restaurant.
Yeah,
it wasn't a bar.
It didn't actually look like the Winchester if you're that into the movie, but they had the spirit of the Winchester.
Yes, there was elements in the space that it was like, okay, I get what you're going for here. They had a cool 20-year anniversary poster that was posted on our social media.
But it was all about, let's buy some shit. They want you to buy stuff. I wanted to buy this sweet black shirt, and they're like, no, you got to spend $75 to get that. And I'm like, I'd have to buy one of everything. I just want the fucking shirt. And they're like, well, you can buy this shirt. I'm like, it's white. I'm gonna dirty it. Fuck that.
Same thing. I'm gonna spill all my shit all over.
I'm a sloppy person. I'll admit it.
What was the weirdest fucking thing about the fake bar? Oh, here's this free zombie themed beer.
A cool looking bottle.
Yeah, and it's like it's was made for the event. It was Shaun of the Dead themed.
Inside a bar.
Weren't allowed to drink the beer at the bar. Of course, they don't tell me that until after I'm halfway through the free can of beer that was handed to me by the bartender. So that was kind of fun. And then, oh, by the way, we're going to kick you back out in the street with an open container. So just hurry up.
Yeah, they openly told you, go on the streets. You can drink there.
Which I don't think you're supposed to do.
People probably do it. It's the Wild West out here.
Anyways, wouldn't recommend.
We also did the Hulu Animayhem walkthrough, which was kind of fun. Which, honestly, if you were out here, there was a huge fucking line. All these things we're talking about, we had press passes to get through quicker. Yes. But I mean, there were some fun things. Last year it was kind of like cardboard cutouts to take pictures, which they had, but everything had like a certain little function. You had a little game or something.
There's
with it.
The Roger reverse operation game was it was silly.
You gotta put these body parts, the entrails of Roger into a very cramped stomach, which I'm pretty sure they made so you can't fucking do it.
I mean, I'd like to believe there was a solution, because there was the other games had a solution to it.
Yeah,
the Hitmonkey one.
You gotta slowly pull out a sword, but you gotta had 6 people doing it.
I get it was meant to be kind of a bigger group experience, which ironically didn't really work for the press coverage thing. You needed more bodies walking through, but there's some fun elements to it.
We got some Slurm.
Got some Lard Lad donuts.
Danced with the folks over at Bob's Burgers.
We got an alien extracted from our bodies.
A Goobler from Solar Opposites.
Yes. And then I was excited about the pin set we got at the end. Too. That
Yeah,
was a
they
cool
gave you a little
exclusive pin
fanny
set.
pack, and you could choose between Solar Opposites and Futurama pins.
Yeah,
So it was
and
cool.
they were fun. Going in my bag as soon as I
I'm
get
kind
home.
of sad. We could have gone to every night the carnival out back, the ship party for Adult Swim, but there's no time, man, to do everything.
The day gets packed pretty fast.
We didn't get to go to the Abbott Elementary Carnival.
That was pretty big.
We didn't go on the IMD boat.
Or there's the Voodoo Ranger.
The ship. Yep. We didn't do
the box
the
lunch.
FX, but we did stuff. It's just.
Oh yeah, that's what that honestly was the thing I thought was kind of cool to me, was just like, even if you can try to cram in as much as you can, you're never doing everything. There's just no.
And you're out in the sun, you're walking, you're tired. By like 8 o'clock, it's like, I'm going to call it a day.
And it's still going.
Yeah.
Party's still raging.
I got stuff going all night.
If I was 10 years younger, I think I could probably hack a couple more panels or something, but I found my limit every day. But regrets though. Like it's been a fun time.
Hit some panels up.
Yeah. Oh my God. So I know I had to hype up the one Star Wars thing I wanted to see, because Patton Oswalt was hosting the panel, but there's a panel called Star Wars Stories where they were talking about some of the extended universe stuff, the new game Star Wars Outlaws.
That game seems kind of cool.
This looks like a lot of fun. I'm hyped for this sort of open world approach to doing a Star Wars game, which has never been done before. We had D. Bradley Baker and a couple of the other voice actors from the game were there hyping it up. Got a new trailer for the game. And then after that, we got several of the authors from the High Republic and the other expanded universe series.
Kind of connected to the Acolyte, a lot of backstory.
These are all the characters that were like set up for the Acolyte. Like they've already written 4 or 5 books, and they're starting to wind down that corner.
That's crazy to think, man.
Yeah. So that was really cool. I'm already like hyped to buy the next couple of Star Wars novels that I want to read. So that was fun. Man, yeah, I know.
Yeah, I hit up a couple of TV shows. Like day one, I caught the tail end of the Rick and Morty anime. I didn't realize that it was legit made as an anime, which there's like a legit anime, like the guy who like direct it and whatnot for Lupin the Third is doing this, and a bunch of other big animes. Awesome. And they played some clips of like other animes that are coming that looked so badass, but I'm blanking on the names right now. But I'm like, God, I wish wish I still had a fucking Cartoon Network for that stuff. But I also went to a Solar Opposites panel. They played an episode from the new season, which was kind of cool. Did they? No, they didn't play an episode. They played clips, but they were cool. It was nice. They set you up for some cool stuff. I'm always a fan of that. Announced that they're getting to do a sequel to their Halloween special, a direct continuation, which is kind of fun.
Oh, nice.
I don't know. We both did Futurama. That was fun.
American Dad.
I did Futurama.
Yeah, you did Futurama.
They played it. It's interesting for Futurama. Everyone was pretty much there for the most part, but not Katie Siegel. But they did a table read of the opening of the second episode, which is a Squid Game type episode, and they read like the script, and then they played the next act of it. Oh, it was kind of cool.
That's a cool way to break it down, though.
Yeah, and then when they were doing the table read, they had different voice actors. Oh no, I'm getting my signals crossed. Let's get to American Dad. Yeah.
So I did show up for American Dad, and that was kind of fun because they were alluding to the fact that they've done table reads before at Comic-Con, but they decided this time they wanted to mix it up a little bit, and they read each other's parts through a couple scenes from the previous season. And goddamn, I thought that was hilarious.
That was good.
It just, when you see them having fun listening to each other, trying to basically impersonate each other's voices, like their jobs, there's normally
some of them were kind of good, and some were like, you're trying. I'll give you that.
And then some were just like, fuck, I'm just gonna do my voice, and I'm gonna make it sound, I'm just gonna read it in that cadence. But that just added to the charm and the fun that I feel like this is why I feel like I keep coming back to the show in particular, and that it just seems like they're having
they don't
fun
run out of
making it.
stuff, and I loved
No.
getting
Yeah.
like, normally people ask dumb questions, but I like the backstory of why Roger is different characters. He didn't start off doing that. I'm like, I
Yeah.
never even realized. You're just so used to Roger always having a new persona,
Right?
so
Yeah.
that was kind of cool.
Yeah. Oh, that would, God, no, that was a lot of fun. I'm glad that line was ridiculous trying to catch up to you, but I'm glad I made it at the last second to get in there with you, which it was funny. We're both trying to coordinate where each other's. I was trying to figure out where he's sitting.
We were like so polar
turns out
opposites.
I think we're in the same row, which is
just so far apart.
But yeah, that was fun. That
Yeah,
was fun.
but
And
you hit up a couple of good things, I think, right? The more industry stuff.
I found a couple of art related panels that sounded interesting to me. Of course, getting a little video game related as I would like to, but there was one day where it was a set dressers panel, and hearing them break down. I mean, because that's one of the things I like doing on the day when I'm doing that sort of work, and something about it's that last step that brings the world to life in front of the camera, and you're the one responding to when the director or the cinematographer needs to make those final adjustments. And hearing them just talk about this, bringing these things, especially because you had the set decorator from Star Trek, you had the set decorator from Fallout, as well as, let me just check my notes, the set decorator from Guardians of the Galaxy, who she's done tons of stuff. Like I think almost 10 of the Marvel movies, as well as like 40 other huge films. Like all of them have either won Oscars or Emmys and are just do incredible work.
Wow.
And just to hear that passion for just breathe, like I said, I that's how I take it in, is breathing that final breath of life into the world that the frame exists in, and then it's up to the cinematographer, the actors to carry the rest home.
Yeah.
And I think that's where all of that sort of, at least on the set, that trifecta of when those things work together, the frame looks good. You just need the sound and the music, and then that's what sells everything else. So that was just frankly inspiring, just to hear the taking of all these things and bringing it into the universe that people are very familiar with, and that was a lot of fun. The other one I did today was the art directors, several of the same projects, but they were specifically talking about things that were converted from video game properties. While the two of them, we talked about things we've heard of before, like Fallout and Five Nights at Freddy's, and things that you would have very recognizable things that just basically, for lack of a better term, could be like lifted out of it. The challenging one that came up that I had talked to you, mentioned briefly before.
I shut you up because I'm like, I don't want to hear anything intriguing. I want to hear it on the show. Sorry.
Oh no, it's I get it.
I like it in the spontaneous.
It's the art director from Twisted Metal.
You were mentioning that. Yeah.
So when you think about the source material, that game, if you're not familiar, it is a deathmatch, like Demolition Derby, where you have
I
cars.
guess the closest thing for kids these days. No, I was gonna say Rocket League, Rocket, but that's nothing like
it's soccer.
Yeah. Never mind.
It's like more of a battle royale type thing.
I love that game.
Yeah,
man.
So it's last man standing with you've got a car covered in weapons, usually some sort of machine guns and all sorts of crazy shit that are themed after the driver's personality. And there's long running series if you haven't heard of the games. And the thing with the visual style of that game is that everything exists in the arena. All you get are the cars and the game arena, or the demolition arena. So it was up to her and the writers and the director to flesh out the rest of the world, which the show truly exists in. And I think they did an incredible job.
Oh it was lived in. It was destroyed.
It was so much fun to watch that thing.
You don't say, "Oh, well, I'm just looking at New Orleans." You're like, "I'm looking at a post-apocalyptic
You're
world."
looking at half the country.
Yeah.
Because by the time he does his run, he's supposedly have driven all over the place. That opening scene of them in the shopping mall was almost entirely practical. She said there was no special effects added for that chase scene. They really got to tear up that mall. They got to.
I think malls these days are kind of abandoned, so I guess that works.
So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But,
I forgot. Also, I did another TV one. I did the Amazon Prime adult cartoons. Robert Kirkman came out for Invincible.
Right, yeah.
The creator of Has Been Hotel, dude from Critical Role, the animated show they got,
Mhm.
and then the one of the co-creators of the Sausage Party show, and just hearing them all talk about the different processes and ways to make fun, interesting, adult-themed things that I don't know, and just the way that cartoons can appeal to adults opposed to not just kids. It was
Yeah.
fun. And then, of course, all these shows are already getting green lights for second, third, fourth, whatever, multiple seasons.
Mhm.
I wasn't planning on going to this, but it was lined up, and I was like, "Oh wow, this is kind of cool seeing this stuff." But
Nice.
yeah. And then were you there for The Simpsons? No,
No,
you
I was
you were in line.
Yeah, I was in line during
Yeah,
The Simpsons
so
to get into American Dad. Yeah.
so it was kind of cool because you didn't have any of the actual Simpsons there, but you had
Mhm.
like producers, writers, Matt Groening, I don't
Groening, yeah.
okay. Kevin Smith moderated it, and then they brought out a special guest who's working on one of the shorts in Trios of Terror this upcoming season, which is a spoof of Venom. It's called Denim, and it's about Homer's pants kind of taking over. And they're doing a mix of, it's going to be all animated, but the pants are actual denim and moving. And they brought out the Stupid Buddies people, Seth Green and his cohort. And they were just talking about the finite ways to get that to come to life. And they're like, we've been working forever on it. And like, just I don't know.
Nice.
It was cool, like seeing the passion and everyone's
cool.
talking about how much they
I miss
love
Robot Chicken and stuff, so
Yeah.
it's cool that at least the team is still alive.
Yeah.
They still want to kind of make that shit. So
and they
cool.
seem like they're loving it, and
Nice.
like yeah,
That's
you can't go wrong with that. But we also hit up Tag Team, a new adult-ish and kid-friendly badass animated show that's coming out very soon or already out when you're listening to this.
Yep. Talking about Batman. That's right. Sorry.
Crusader.
Yeah, it is clipping through. But yes, Batman Cape Crusader, which is like
Spiritual.
the spiritual
successor.
predecessor to the Batman the Animated Series from 1992 or 93. Anyways, the 90s Batman cartoon, if you're familiar with. Oh my God, Bruce Timm and all of these
J.J. Abrams
producers are a part of this team, and the visual style it's almost the same. Like it honestly looks like hand drawn.
Yeah, it has the same type of vibe that you get from X-Men '97. Like it looks CG, but it looks so down and dirty animated.
It feels like you're seeing the panels from the original Batman animated series. Like it has the depth, but it doesn't feel like it's computer generated graphics. That alone was just I was very excited about that.
We got to watch the pilot episode, which was nice.
Yeah.
We meet the Penguin, which is their gender changing her, and now she's a female and she has kids, and she's fucking intense. And Minnie Driver, I was I didn't even know it was her. You can't even tell it's her.
Her American accent was killer.
Yeah.
And then she sang a jazz number in an American accent, and it was very entertaining scene. I'm super excited.
And then I really like Hamish Patel's rendition. It sounds a lot like fucking Kevin Conroy a bit.
But a good like younger version.
And that's what I liked what Matt Reeves was saying.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of fits in where his original, the Batman, was year one, right? Or
well, they talked about the animated movies, Batman Year One. Then there was Batman Year Two,
and
he's like, this is more like Batman Week 1.
2, yeah,
or Week 2, yeah.
And we were even talking because on the screen before the panel, Batman looks young, and it's like, oh wow, okay, how old is he here?
And it's like it was in subtle hints too. Like they didn't immediately tell you like this is the time frame or whatever. It was like him the way he talked to Alfred was Pennyworth.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't, and that was one of the things they covered was like he's still, the shield is still up. He's still Batman first all the time.
And yet it was kind of cool seeing when he was Bruce Wayne, when he's a little stumbling and bumbling and not as
very aware this is a mask. Like he said, because Bruce Wayne is the mask, is the way he explained it, and it showed through all of that, and I'm very excited to see the overall arc of everything. But you saw like so many core characters from the Batman world
Mhm.
were all there. Bullock is already a piece of shit. What's the other detective? Because she's the one that ran out of the police station at the end. That she's the cop that.
Oh, I don't recall,
Damn it,
but
I forget her name. But regardless, we're getting all of the main core characters.
yeah.
Jamie Chung was also
Mhm.
on the
As
panel,
not Batgirl, but
but no,
Batwoman.
Harleen Quinzel.
Yes.
That we didn't get to see her in the episode, but clearly is going to have an impact. And I noticed a little slip up. It sounded like she mentioned something heroic. So I'm curious if maybe we are going to have a different twist on the character. 'Cause
Possibly.
we didn't see Joker. We
No.
saw Harley Quinn. So I would like
Mhm.
to see what because I believe originally wasn't she made for the
Yeah,
limited series?
in
So
yes.
why not do something else fun with the character
Yeah.
we're familiar with? So I don't. I'm already in love with it.
It's
I
great.
know I'm gonna watch the
And
first
what I
season.
really enjoyed was you see him sleuthing and doing detective work, which you
Yes.
don't always see with
World's
Batman.
greatest detective. He's got that title for a reason, and it's I it looks like it's everything
And the
our
world.
generation wants.
The world itself. It's like modern day, but also feels like old school, and it has that film noir style vibe.
Yeah, I don't see this as something that they're trying to inject a bunch of other DC heroes into it. This is Batman's world. So
Yeah.
I'm 100% in for this. I'm so excited for the new Batman series.
I think it's coming out August
August-
2nd, August 6th.
Oh, was it? Oh,
So
yeah.
it's a couple of days.
Yeah, very shortly. So
And we both hit up today a movie panel, like you mentioned earlier, the new Hellboy, the Crooked Man.
Oh my god, yeah. The directed by Brian Taylor, which you may or may not be familiar with.
I wasn't until they said the movies, and
Yeah,
till Coy said, "Oh yeah, you did Gamer and fucking Crank."
right. These high octane, just intense, driven films that I remember really enjoying. Gamer when that came out.
I remember when you
It
reviewed it the years later, you were loving it.
It's like it breaks a lot of molds and it does a lot of things. I feel like you're normal, sometimes taboo for an action film, and it just carves out its own piece. And I mean, Gerard Butler, before he got to saving fucking eagles and
Olympus Fallen.
all these things that in London.
But we're not here to talk about games.
Exactly.
We're here to talk about this.
Yeah.
So, is it Mike Magnella?
Magnolia, yeah.
Magnolia?
The way Coy said it,
Yeah,
I'm like,
it
oh,
sounded
shit, I've been saying it wrong this whole
yeah.
time. But the creator of Hellboy himself was also on the panel.
He wrote the script for this, and he seems like he really believes it.
The story arc from the comic book universe that the film is based on is his personal favorite story, as he said, it is a big fan favorite too, The Crooked Man. So taking actual Appalachian folklore and basing it around that, and throwing a young Hellboy into the thick of the story.
And this takes place in the 50s.
Yes,
they were saying.
Yeah. I gotta say, I was personally very excited to see Jeffrey White in this. I'm a big fan of his performance in Yellowstone, and he's probably my favorite character in the series, just because of the risks they were able to give him and the story arc that his character is able to go through. So the fact that he's in the movie, I was very excited about, because I know his depth and his performance will be very honest. Like he's very good at portraying this intensity of emotion, which I think should be demanded of you in something like Hellboy. I'm not as familiar with the other two cast members, to be honest.
No, not at all. But the thing that gets me, I had mixed feelings on this trailer. Like, some of it looked badass, and some looked super low budget, and some looked that cool. But it did give this really chilling horror vibe that I liked.
I love the color and the lighting that they chose to do. Things we saw in the forest looked really good. The part I think we're on the same page for was the thing that bugged me about the trailers. I felt like we kept seeing the same set for like half of it.
Yeah.
We kept seeing the interior of this like same cabin, or like I'm assuming it's the same house, but I'm like, you show us all these awesome exteriors in this train, and you keep alluding to these things in a church, but like they kept dragging back to the same place. And I'm with you in that, and given the distributor and
Catch Up Entertainment.
Millennium,
Yep, them as
picture,
well.
like it's like it's not going to be a super high.
We're not
budget
getting
thing.
Del Toro level.
No,
And
no.
I'm sorry, but Hellboy looks like a bad cosplay of this kind of. It doesn't look as intense. But I get it. It's not a super big budget, and they're not concerned about that. And he's younger.
Yeah, I was about to say that was,
and he's not as
the way I read it.
Yeah,
was like,
and they even said that he's not full of himself. He just wants to be a regular guy, but he doesn't have that opportunity. It sounds compelling.
yeah, I'm curious about how it's going to play out. I'd like to check it out when we get the film to release. But with some reservation, the fact that Mike was that excited about it, which in the back of my mind, I'm like, well,
even if
he
it
was
sucked,
probably
you're gonna
excited about
say,
it
yeah.
the last 3 times. But there was even fans, even among the cast, they were fans of the previous movies too. The guy playing Hellboy said the first time he was exposed to Hellboy, much like me, the first time I was exposed to him was Guillermo's first Hellboy film, and which to this day I still enjoy. I still think it's a fun movie. But it is a different take.
Yeah,
this is the difference between seeing that version was he's had more experience, but they were still introducing this character for the first time. Whereas here, it seems kind of like they're not worried about introducing for the first time so much as telling you when we're meeting him, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Really making him younger and somewhat less experienced.
Which is kind of cool, because every time we've seen him with Ron Perlman or David Harbour, he's just this grizzled badass.
He's already there. Yeah.
So it's gonna be nice seeing him get to that point.
Yeah. So let's see how it plays out.
It wasn't 100% accurate, but they showed side-by-side comparisons of the splash pages and the stills.
Oh yeah, well they were from the comics. Like those are the cells from the comic, the actual story arc it's based on. I mean, I as far as like trying to achieve the same look, I mean, it's got it
pretty close. Yeah,
damn close. That is cool, and I kind of I gotta respect that they were using it more or less as like the storyboard, kind of like where Sin City, you can pull out all of these scenes and like this is exactly what you see in the books, and it looks like that was what they were aiming for, although not with the Sin City budget.
Yeah, but you do what you can with the best that you got.
But like you said, they wanted, this shouldn't be an action movie, this shouldn't be a superhero movie. He said they wanted to make a horror movie,
and it looks like it's gonna achieve that. At least
it looks gnarly.
Yeah, I also saw another movie panel for DreamWorks Animation's upcoming The Wild Robot.
Yeah.
And Lupita was there, and then another person. So it's about a robot that is like a helper robot, but she crash lands in this like land of just wooded creatures and no humans, so she doesn't have any humans to serve.
Okay.
And then a young bird is born in front of her, and then it thinks that she's the mother, so she has to kind of train the bird.
It's been imprinted.
So it goes,
yeah, that's cool.
And as that's happening, there's also other robots trying to hunt her down, and she bonds with these creatures, and it's kind of cute. And then halfway through, they're like, "Oh, we have one more cast member." Mark Hamill came out, and that was kind of fun.
Oh, dude!
And it's interesting because the director of this directed Call of the Wild, I think it was, the Harrison Ford movie.
Yeah.
And someone pointed out that the voice that Mark Hamill is doing almost sounds like Harrison Ford in this.
He does a very good Harrison Ford impression.
But they showed a lot of different clips in this, but it's weird. They showed us what looked like the third act, like the big finale fight scene, which was daring. I mean, it was good. And one thing that really intrigued me about this, so this movie is primarily hand-drawn. They're going for that look, but Lupita's robot is CG. But as time goes by the end of the movie, she is also gonna be looking hand drawn like them,
Okay,
kind of
okay.
adapting with the story,
That's
which
all right.
never really
Interesting.
seen before.
That's an interesting
Yeah.
take. That's a cool way of going about that.
Yeah.
The visual medium also telling the story, not just the dialogue. Yeah, no, that's cool.
And I think this was also
Intriguing.
the director, if I'm remembering the right panel. This guy did Lilo and Stitch and
Mhm.
stuff like that. So it's in good hands. I am looking forward to this movie. It should be
Nice.
fun. Yeah.
Nice.
And you have any other panels?
Yeah, there was one morning, I forget which day. Got to see a really cool panel with Diablo Cody talking about she doing kind of a rundown of her career. This lot
Oh,
of Q&A stuff,
I hate that I
starting with
missed that.
Juno, and talking about how Jennifer's Body just became this huge hit during COVID, like right at the beginning of, or mid 2020 when things started kicking off, people getting locked down. How all of a sudden the views just like skyrocketed, and how
Did
it
she
went.
say why? Like, I'm wondering. That doesn't.
It's somewhat a generational thing, I think, was what was kind of discussed. Like,
And people
'cause we
were
were
at
talking about
home and had nothing really.
rediscovering things, yeah, by word of mouth. Like,
Huh.
TikTok starting to sample a lot of the dialogue
Hmm.
from the movie. Like, she said it. She's like, she's talking about how she started creeping on people's TikTok videos and stuff, where she's just going through her normal feed, and she's like, "Oh, wait, that sounds like a line of dialogue from a movie. Well, I wonder what movie that is." And it's like, it's her movie. And she's like, "Oh shit!" So she starts she will start commenting on these people's videos. So if you see a Diablo Cody go by on your TikTok account and you've sampled Jennifer's Body, there's a chance it's actually her.
That's
Um,
funny. So
but
what you're saying is we should start sampling Jennifer's Body
you
on
know,
our stuff so we can be in contact
so
with
just
her.
start talking about eating boys,
There you
and
go.
then we're there. Thanks, Diablo. But yeah, she's got a new project, Death of a Pop Star, coming out that she's producing.
And then I just saw she announced she's remaking 9 to 5. I think I saw today.
Oh shit! Oh yeah,
So I wasn't sure if she talked about that in the
no,
panel.
that didn't come with the panel.
Oh,
It was very much the fandom based sort of stuff, like our reactions to things, and it was interesting just to see how she reacted to people being excited to tell her how they feel about her works, and then to just share those little bits of information as to how you arrive to some of these things. And that was just really cool. I mean, she's still so passionate about creating interesting
nice.
stories and wanting to tell it the way she wants to, and not just molding it to everyone else, even though she fully acknowledges, like, maybe I'd be a little more wealthy if I just wrote what everyone else wrote, but then she
It's a
wouldn't
shame that
have
we're
this
never going to see
following.
her version of Barbie. I wonder if that would have been as big a
Oh my
success.
God.
I don't know.
I mean,
I feel like
not
Greta is really the driving force that made that movie
yeah, as
what
I
it
I
was.
thoroughly enjoyed that film, but I also agree, I can't help but wonder what that would have been like as well. No offense, Greta, but um, and who knows? Maybe she still has a chance to do something in
Eh,
that vein. Maybe not Barbie, but like, I would love to see her have that sort of budget and
mm.
really just fucking go ham. Like, just send it and just do your Diablo thing. But yeah, that was really cool.
Could you imagine if Diablo Cody did a Diablo adaptation film?
That would be wild.
Diablo and Diablo,
Oh, I would watch that. I'd watch the shit out of that. That would be a lot of
right?
fun. Oh my god.
But yeah, today I closed out a staple, closing out Hall H every year, almost with the exception of last year. Saturday night, Kevin Smith, the conversation. Now, nothing majorly new was coming out of this.
Yeah.
It was a lot of stories I've recently heard, and I haven't really listened to a lot of his podcasts, but I'm like, oh, I know I've heard this story. But it's always fun hearing him. Like, it's like he has all these stories to a T. But he did play a trailer for his upcoming movie, the 4:30 movie, which he directed
Hmm.
in his theater, and it's loosely based off his young adulthood. So, and it looks kind of good. It looks like a throwback kind of coming of age comedy,
Okay.
which it's funny. He was like, yeah, I specifically made this to be PG-13 because that's the type of movie that you'd see back then and kids could go in. So there's no swearing. But the MPAA refused to give me that. And I tried fighting them on it. And then they pulled out 6 different times that I talked about masturbation and ejaculation. And I realized I don't know why I thought that would be a PG-13.
Not even realizing
Yeah, he's just so used
That's
to
so
doing.
funny. Doing
Yeah,
it Kevin's way.
and it's interesting because his previous few movies he's been taking on the road doing road shows,
Mhm.
but this one they're just doing a regular theatrical release, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, so it's like I feel like we're kind of I miss that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that should be up in the marquee up with everyone else too. It's unfortunate how the system works, but it's nice to see like.
But
his
he did
movies
say,
getting
of
back
course, I mean, the cool thing is this is his theater that they filmed in, which was his childhood theater. So it's as close, and they will have the premiere there and do a lot of screenings at the theater, so you can go to the theater that it was filmed in and see it.
Oh, that's cool.
So that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
But
that's awesome.
he also did. I mean, he announced earlier a while back that he had been writing a new Jay and Silent Bob movie, which I didn't really like reboot, but now he's off weed and he has a new outlook on life. I'm wondering if this is going to be more akin to I don't know, a better movie in my opinion. But he did announce that they're going to be shooting that in a couple of months in Atlanta, and it's going to be called Jay and Silent Bob Store Wars. Apparently, they are opening up a dispensary, and now they're going against a rival dispensary. He kind of said it's kind of like a Coyote versus Acme style
Oh,
thing,
God.
and I'm like, all right, I could see some fun being done with
Okay.
that. Yeah, I
Okay.
don't know. So it was interesting. It's always fun listening to him talk. You can just go on and on, and
Oh yeah, I can imagine. Especially a wordy man like him.
yeah.
I can see
That's the thing. Like when the Q&A came, he's like, I don't know how many I'll answer. There may be a few Q's, but there's going to be a hell of a lot of A's, and like just going on and on.
I could see that.
Before the first person could even ask a question, he was already going on with the long answer. It's like, yeah, you didn't even ask anything, but there's a long A.
God.
Ugh.
I feel the man is a fan of his own voice
Oh,
at
yeah.
times too. That's
Hey, fair
but
enough.
it was just fun to be honest. But I like hearing a story from the guy. It is interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was bummed I missed it, but I wanted to ride out the rest of Hellboy. And that was cool just to hear their takeaways of just the making of that film. Not to
And no. Yeah, we can go back to Hellboy. What sounded interesting was how quick they said like they got into production and how quick they had to just jump into
shot it in 12 weeks.
Yeah. I guess that's not bad. That's like 4 months.
But yeah,
but in the woods
and
in the Appalachians.
a lot of like in
really?
in Europe. It took place in Appalachia.
Oh, okay. I thought they actually
shot it
filmed
halfway around the world.
That sounds about right.
And a lot of practical effects. That was one of the key things. So that took time. Like
that's true to get right.
There was a stunt scene with the horse that Jefferson White was talking about. How like I've just spent 5 seasons of a show where all I do is fuck with horses. I'm like, we're never gonna get the shot. We're never gonna get the shot. And he said, hell, if this actress didn't get this horse to do exactly what they needed every single take.
That's
and it went off. He's like, it went off without a hitch. I was amazed. So I know that aspect of it was interesting. And then Coy got some props too.
Good.
Like he had fans in the audience.
Oh yeah, he's like I said, he's got a big following with his solo stuff and this real rejects the stuff that he does.
And he did a great job.
It's funny, as I didn't realize it was him, but when I was going over there, I was looking at the thing. I'm like, oh shit, Coy's doing this one. Nice.
Well, see, yeah, and you didn't.
I didn't say anything to you.
I'm
you're
sitting there, and he just walks
is
out.
that
I'm like,
Coy?
He looks familiar.
Yeah.
And then he introduces himself. I just turned to Adam like, fuck, that's Coy. He's like, yeah, I know. Yeah. I'm just like, oh, well, fucking, I didn't know.
Yeah, this is the buddy that we knew from our college days.
Was in your DC project.
And one of my short film, Count Cocaine, delivering one of my favorite lines, referencing the Munsters.
Oh, that was a fun night. That was a fun night.
But I've been complaining about it. It wasn't a great year, but now that we're talking about it, it was pretty good. It was a good week.
There's a few.
And I discovered there is a way to get in Hall H as press, but it's just a waiting game. So it's like, oh, I wasn't coming next year, I said, but now I'm gonna reapply because I want to get into Hall H. I want to cover the big stuff, the big dogs. I do want to do interviews too, but no.
Yeah.
But guess what?
You have to tune in.
Still a good
You have
stuff.
to tune in next year, folks.
Yeah. Anything else that you can think of for the con? There's
I
one
don't know,
thing that we was associated with the con that we're going to talk about when we get to reviews.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But aside from that, trying to think of any other experience. Standing in Tokidoki for an hour.
Oh,
Right
yeah.
at the door, like just as the line was
But
going
my favorite
through.
part of that was we're standing in line. It's boring as shit. We're getting stuff from my brother, and you're like, "Oh, there's Kristen Shaw," and I'm like, "Whoa, well, that's Colin Robinson. That's Laszlo." I'm like, "That's the fucking what we do in the Shadows Gang." And I was like, in my head, I'm like, "Oh man, this is badass." I missed the panel, but there they are.
They all walked past us. All I could think of is like, they took my baseball cards from Better Call Saul. But no, that was cool. And that's one of the things I like about that. I was just wandering the floor. I see Brian Posehn.
I was gonna say, you mentioned that you saw him yesterday. I saw him working the Bayfront when I was going there today. He just had headphones on. I'm like, what a fucking smart move. Nobody's gonna stop you if they think you're listening to stuff, and you're probably listening to heavy metal like a badass.
I wouldn't say no one. There's definitely the types of people that.
Yeah, but at least he puts on that. It's like a protector.
Oh, sure. No, I totally get it.
Yeah.
There's just people like the lady that elbowed us in the back one
Oh,
morning.
what a
trying to get
lady.
inside, that we both fucking wanted to just take her down.
Boy,
bad etiquette.
Ooh.
Don't shove people at Comic-Con, please.
One thing that we forgot to mention, we did check out the pinball room.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That was fun.
We are going to get a little extra detailed coverage, I guess. But it was a lot of like
big
pinball tables that
old, new, everything. Man,
they had a cool Jaws setup.
John
I played
Wick.
Star Wars. You played Elvira.
Yeah.
They had
multiple Star Wars.
They had there was another.
There were a lot of badass ones.
But
yeah,
that was cool. There was
and then I mean, we're not done. We got one more day left at the con. We're gonna go to the Paramount Lodge tomorrow. We're gonna go to the Comic-Con Museum. We're gonna fucking do something else. I forget.
More stuff.
Yeah. Another thing that we missed. We could have got free barbecue at the 50th anniversary Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But yeah.
Okay, we're gonna get Ninja Turtles pizza tomorrow.
That's true.
So
it doesn't get better than that.
Looking forward to
they know pizza.
That's
it
right.
Better be
if anyone
cheesiness.
Right. I want to see the strings.
Anywho, I guess we should get to our normal main part of the thing. Thank you for listening to us gab on about that. I know it was a bit long, but
yeah,
fun stuff.
It's easy to get excited about the stuff. Like I said, first year for me, but getting to do it with you, man.
Yeah,
that was a really fun time.
It was good. I'm sorry, I was a pain. I was being a little moody.
You know what? I took it in stride. We broke off and did our own thing with everyone,
which is good because then we have more coverage to talk about.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, folks, we're gonna get over to a little thing that we like to call reviews. Sorry, this is a new change up from what we do normally.
Yep.
I don't even know the swing bling. Sorry. Yes. All right. So we're doing things a little different. We're gonna review a couple of streaming series and movies that aren't out yet, movies that are out. So up first, we got to talk about The Acolyte because that just ended and we haven't talked about it yet.
Yes. As we mentioned before, we saw a little panel that had a lot of lead up novelization and stuff into the characters that set up Acolyte. So getting to see one of our main characters' backstories was really cool. So if you're not aware, the setup of this is the High Republic. This is the era of when Jedi are the fucking sheriffs of the Wild West.
That's the one thing I think I didn't like the most. They were just like space police, and I'm like, what? I didn't know.
But that's what
I didn't know that was a thing.
Well, yeah. But if you're super into the Star Wars lore,
I'm into the main canon.
You hear, I mean, it's in. This is what's mentioned in the prequel trilogy. This is where Sidious and Darth Plagueis are coming from. Is this world of when they had too much power, and come to find out it's because it's been set up this way so the Sith can overthrow and prevail.
So we got these two, what we assume are twins, who have witch-like powers. They're coven. They think they're witches, but Jedi land there.
They are witches.
And one of the girls wants to go and train with the Jedi, and the other girl's like, "No, we must be witches."
Yeah, I heard that. Well, they're the level of their midichlorian like count, blah blah blah. The
It's
fact
off
that
the
they are
scale.
so in touch with the Force was sensed or noticed by the Jedi Council. So they sent out Jedi to go investigate. Turns out it's this witch cult. Oh, we have to stop the scary magic thing happening. Ends up causing the destruction of the clan between actions of the girls themselves and a couple of the Jedi.
And
were
both girls think
intervening.
that their opposite had died for a
Yeah,
while.
yeah, exactly. They each think that they're the lone survivor of this event. Come to find out, they meet each other many years later, only to see each other face to face and
Right.
find out everything was a lie. So neither of them are really believing the side they came from. The girl trained in the Sith, turns out she's not as Sithy as they want her to be.
Mm.
The girl who was trained to be a Jedi wasn't enough to be a Jedi. And they start to kind of be pulled in opposite directions and
Yeah.
intersect back across
And
each other.
nobody's safe. Everyone's on the chop. There's a lot of death and brutality in this.
Yeah.
It's badass. And they don't play the Jedi as these good people. Like the people are like, I feel like you have too much power and you're trying to force your ways on people, or you're kidnapped. Like they make you look at things in a different perspective, which is kind of
Yeah,
nice.
and I like that they're not all they don't all feel like they're from the same side. Even you have Saul, who's the Jedi Master who's training one of the twins. That
Homeboy from
it's-
Squid Games.
yeah, and it's
Learned English to do
the
this.
fucking coolest thing because doesn't feel like it at all whatsoever. By the way, he owns
He's
this role so
fantastic.
fucking well.
I would want to watch more of this guy.
Oh yeah. And then you have his master, who she was the one. Turns out was the orchestrator of a lot of these events. That, like I was saying before, the novels that they were mentioning, she's getting more deeper backstory to find out just how she got to this point because she made some bad decisions
Mm.
and is now the one who has to come in and clean some dirty shit up. And I mean, I gotta say, where the story starts to get a little convoluted, and I wasn't a super huge fan of how the finale resolves.
Yeah,
This is
I'll
some
give
of
you
the
that.
best choreography I think
Mm.
we've seen out of any of the Star Wars series so far. This is the lightsaber dueling is incredible. Our main Sith villain is really fucking
Oh,
cool.
he's badass. And not just a one-dimensional bad guy.
No,
Like he's got
no.
layers like an
Yeah.
onion.
You can tell he's holding things back. You can tell he's trying to formulate his own plan.
And even the reveal of him, like you knew it was coming at a certain point, but
It's
you
still so
didn't when you first
satisfying.
met him, you're like,
it's
oh.
yeah.
And perfectly played. I love that. The Manny Jarek, I'm gonna say his name wrong, but homeboy from the Good Place, killing it. And the main character playing two roles
Mhm.
and polar different, fantastic.
She did a great job playing her own twin sister.
Yeah.
They feel different enough while still being related enough.
Mhm.
I love the rest of the cast. The characters were interesting too.
Yeah.
I even started getting attached to characters that got taken away super fast. Basil was awesome. I want to see that little tracker some more.
Which one was that?
The little tracker Weezer.
Oh, I love
That
that.
guy was awesome.
One of my favorite characters.
It was
just sniffing around, causing chaos.
I think a lot of people had a hard time with understanding the roles of some of the characters, which I think is why the finale felt kind of rough. Like, why would you just?
It didn't feel earned.
Yeah, when it's
it felt forced and quick.
I think I can understand some of the decisions, but I think they needed a little more explanation for some of the choices that were made. But I'm going to check in for next season.
100%.
I'm in.
This, honestly, I had no expectations. I thought this was going to suck. I didn't like the pilot, but then it just fucking grew on me, dude. It's one of my favorites. I think I like it more than the later Mandalorian seasons.
Oh,
it
okay.
gives Mandalorian a run for the money, I think.
Oh, cool, cool.
Yeah.
Well, awesome.
Yeah. All right. Up next, I have a new movie that's coming out. I want to say August 2nd. It's called Kneecap. And I didn't know much about this, but I saw the trailer and I still didn't fully get it. But then when I saw the movie, it was spectacular. All right. So it's about two drug dealers in Ireland and a music teacher. and the three of them come together and form an Irish rap group that essentially just raps in Irish. And it's at a point where there's people in Ireland that don't know how to speak Irish, which I always thought it was Gaelic, but
Gaelic.
they say Irish in this, which
Okay.
is weird. And there's like a whole rebellion about like we need to have people speaking it. We shouldn't just be speaking English. And like these guys are questioning the law. They're doing drugs, and that's the thing. They end up giving drugs to people in the audience, and there's like a group of people against this, and like the cops are on their case. The music teacher has to like wear a mask to hide his identity in case anybody sees him. He doesn't want to lose his job. And it's just one of the main members of the group, his dad faked his death, and
God.
kind of is doing this weird stuff, but his son still talks to him. And the dad is the only person I've recognized in the movie, Fassbender, perfectly, and it's great.
Oh shit. Okay.
It's just a wild ride watching these three people who shouldn't come together, and the influence that these guys have on this man who used to live a clean life. And the music's really good. Like I was like,
Nice.
this is crazy. Some of it they do sing in English, but most of it is in Irish. And but it's like the beats are cool, and
Badass.
there's also like this love story. There's so much going on, almost to the detriment of the movie. I feel like they throw too much in there, like
Oh,
all these different
okay.
subplots, but somehow they weave it together in a tapestry that's perfect. And what really blew my mind was apparently this is a real band, and I didn't know anything about it because at the end they show actual video of the band over the years. They start going back from 2023 all the way to 2015 when they met up
Mhm.
and started, and it was really fucking good.
Oh,
And
badass. Oh,
and
cool.
like there's like these crazy things that happen on screen, like almost felt like splash page stuff, actions happening that shouldn't be there. I don't know how to describe it, but
Tank Girl.
this, yeah. I missed a screening of it a couple of weeks ago at this revival. But I think we're recording that night. But I know I haven't said anything much about this, but you gotta trust me when I
I
say
did.
this movie is
I think you did. Yeah.
fan fucking
I'm
tastic.
intrigued.
I literally started listening to the music on my way home, and like I said, most of it's not even in English, but it's that fucking good.
Nice.
I kind of want to see this again when it comes out. Kneecap's coming to theaters on the 2nd of August.
Yeah, badass, dude.
Up next, we have Cobra Kai Season 6 Part 1.
Yes. We're winding it down. It's been some time, but we're getting the old clan
Oh,
back.
shit. Sorry. I'm going to give Kneecap 3.5 slices of toast.
Yes. Okay.
And Acolyte, I'm going to give 3.5 as well.
I would give Acolyte 3
Okay.
slices.
Fair enough. Close.
Yeah. I'm gonna leave it a little room to grow. How about that?
There you go.
There's
That's a good way to do it.
Couple things I would like it to be tightened up on, but
sorry. Anyways,
yeah.
back to CK, as I'm now just called it, dubbed it.
Put your CKs on. Cobra Kai. So it's all's well and good in the world, of course.
Yeah. What
is just beautiful and fine.
What is Johnny? Not Johnny. What Ralph Macchio's guy say in the beginning? The fucking karate wars are over or whatever to his wife in the beginning.
Karate wars are over. The dojos are at peace. There is no Cobra Kai. Eagle Fang or whatever the fuck it said.
Yeah.
Is it
Miyagi Fang?
Miyagi-Do. I think they're. Oh, actually, excuse me. Over the course, they
change the name. Yeah, they go all.
But it's funny. Like they hit it so hard in the like the first episode to just keep it. Oh, all is good, peaceful, and good in the world, only to find out John Kreese escaped from prison.
What?
And fled the country.
Whoa! To find his sensei.
Yes, he's gonna go. He wants to bring power, like the power, back to himself
and get the most badass fucking
ponytail man bun is out of here. That was a waste of space. That guy just slowed him down.
What are we talking? Like, Kreese?
No, Kreese isn't Kreese. Kreese is the guy.
Oh, maybe I'm thinking Silver.
Yes.
Sorry, is that who you're talking
Silver,
about?
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's like Silver was just like dead weight. let him rot in prison.
But I think we're gonna see him again.
I'm not saying.
I don't think we're not gonna see Terry.
I don't think
again.
he's done. I
Yeah.
just think
For
it's the
now,
conflict. No, but he was so against how he handled it. Kreese firmly believes in. That's why he goes back to his sensei, because he wants to go back to his roots of why he is doing what he's doing. And I gotta say, it was kind of cool to paint the villain in this light, because it's like he's not even that villainous. He's just the antagonist now, and it's even the worst things he does.
Like even
in
when he
this
meets
season
up with
aren't
what's
that
her
bad.
face in that parking garage, he's speaking the truth.
I genuinely believe he wants to be a father figure to her.
Yeah.
That's how he views himself.
And he's been nothing but loving and supporting to her.
He just does it his way.
Yeah. It's tough love.
A fist.
Sorry.
But no, it's we're revisiting we touched base with everyone again. We're bringing things up to speed.
They're the Sokai. What is it?
Sokai Tai tournament. Sakatati Tai.
Yeah, there's the big tournament.
So there's the international
that they qualified
from
the last season.
Karate Kid 3.
Okay.
It's the same tournament that LaRusso fights when he was a kid, and he's going back to do it again. And that's why it's a big deal. It's like, oh, we haven't defended the title, like we haven't done this since then, and
they gotta choose the 6 members of the group, which it's funny because there's primarily 6 main characters, so it's like,
but of course,
wow,
we gotta
rule
out a few, and I did kind of like them bringing up some of the side characters.
Yeah, that was kind of cool. Yeah,
up to the forefront. That was cool. I could have done without the slumber party episode because that was fucking weird. But I get what they're trying to do.
I had mixed feelings. I'm like, it just seemed like a perfect Johnny Lawrence type of thing.
I think something that
but a little creepy and weird.
Was made a whole episode. And like, this is getting old.
And so, essentially, at this point, there's peace, but now there's question of who's really in charge of the dojo. Is it really a combination of the work, like, and then fucking there's a box that's found out, and maybe fucking it turns out that Miyagi is not the good guy we know and love. He has a deep dark secret.
Here's my thing. Here's my thing with a few of these plot points. It's like we're so injecting these like moments like that, which are like meant to stir up this trouble, but I'm sitting there just like,
it's laughable.
Well, we're gonna be fine.
Yeah,
like
we know it's all gonna end well.
Listen to your fucking wife, Daniel-san. Shut up. Of course, Mr. Miyagi is the man who you knew because he was that guy through all of your experience, and I'm just waiting for him to arrive to that.
Yeah, conclusion. And I'm pretty sure. I bet it's like his twin brother, or not a twin, but a very close.
I bet it's him.
All right.
I think it's like there was just maybe a time he just rolled a little rough, you
Fair
know. How otherwise, I don't think he would just like without blinking an eye
we
take
got
down like 5 dudes at once.
Could you imagine if we got that as a new spin-off prequel show, a young Miyagi?
That would be sick. I want to see him like the whole
because they build up a lot.
Boxing, the boxing gym and all these things. Like, so I gotta say they're definitely those last couple episodes, it's nicely ramping up to the final conclusion, and it's feeling like this will be the end of close this book, you know. I get there's the movie coming out, but that will be its own separate story, right? So like I like that all of their students we're going to see this epic battle and move on to the next chapter, you know.
And of course, people who were feuding are now friends, and then people who were friends are now feuding.
Yes,
and they just had to inject drama that felt like fodder,
just to make this happen, right?
When it was fine watching everyone kind of be in harmony, but I will say I don't know when we had the last season, but it feels like a big jump in time because these people, kids seem so much older.
30 years old.
Even the kids that were so tiny are now like fucking look like they're 18
or taller than the main cast. Like, no, it's that.
But it's still riveting and fun and like addicting.
Yeah. Oh, sure. It's still a fun story to be a part of. Like, I still enjoy the journey. So I'm sticking around for more for sure. I would give Cobra Kai on Netflix 3 slices of toast as well.
Yeah, I'll give it a 3 as well, I guess. Yeah. I can't deny that. And of course, up next, the big movie of the week, Deadpool and Wolverine, spoiler-free discussion. on our next episode in a couple of weeks. Hopefully, Dennis, you'll see it, and
Mhm.
everyone will have seen it, so we can get deep in there. But you asked me, so pretty much, we went to a screening after a long day of the con, and then I went to an 11:15 showing of this, and okay, so the plot is essentially Wade now wants to kind of do more with his life because he's going to lose Monica back, Vanessa. She wants him to kind of do more with his life. And he tries applying to be a member of the X-Men and the Avengers, but he gets turned down. And
Okay.
then he's kind of mopey and he ends up losing Vanessa. And then he's kind of just given up. He's a car salesman now. And he's called into the TVA, and they're told that essentially his timeline is coming to an end because they lost someone pivotal to the world. And he thinks it's him, but it's really Wolverine. And they're like, well, you can go to the main timeline, which is essentially the MCU,
Mhm.
and you can fulfill the destiny that you want. And he's like, all right, yeah, just let me go and tell my friends and stuff. And they're like, no, they're gonna die. And he's like, well, how do I stop them from dying? And like, you can't. Wolverine's dead. And he's like, fine, I'm gonna go get Wolverine, and I'm gonna save my friends.
Okay.
And then they end up getting pruned and sent to that kind of wasteland world we
Mhm.
saw in Loki. And then we meet Charles Xavier's sister, who's the big bad. And they end up,
Cassandra Nova.
yep, they end up essentially finding out that she can bring them back to the real world, but they're trying to go and get other people, heroes that are out there in the waste world, to fight her so they can get her. It's, I don't know, it's a convoluted kind of story. It's essentially just all fucking. Don't get me wrong. There were some funny moments. There's some good moments, but it just felt like they were doing fan service left and right. And I didn't really care for Deadpool 2.
I was gonna say Deadpool 2 was a lot of that also.
But this I enjoyed. I liked this a hell of a lot more than Deadpool
Okay.
2. The action was fun. The comedy was fun. It was good to see these two come together.
Mhm.
It was good to see some new faces and familiar faces and whatnot. But the biggest flaw I had with this movie was the overuse of CG. Things that could have been practical. There's a whole big fight number in the opening of the movie that is so CG heavy. I'm like, really? You're making this CG and that CG? And it just,
It's funny. I mean, we'll get to it later. I want did the very CG list thing we watched literally right before you watched that? Do you think it made you more aware of the fact that
no,
things would
no,
happen?
even if we didn't see that, I mean, possibly, but even if not, it's like I would see, because it's so vividly CG.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like, it's like he says he's gonna save his world by bringing Wolverine there, and Wolverine, the Wolverine that he gets, is kind of the worst Wolverine that essentially caused everyone's death, and he became an alcoholic. But the only reason he ends up going with Deadpool, because he's like, oh yeah, those guys at the TVA, they can definitely reset your world and everything. And he lies to him essentially, and but it's like none of it makes sense, because it's like he brings that Wolverine to the TVA, and they're like, no, we're not gonna send him to your world. No, and none of it makes any sense. It just feels weird to me. But yes, I enjoyed it. It was fun. It was exciting. Wasn't as great as Deadpool. Much better than Deadpool 2. But just, it's like just waiting for the next beat of who's gonna pop up, what's gonna happen.
Sure. The next cameo.
Yeah,
The next,
and like there's a moment where towards the third act, they're like, oh, they're going for an Infinity War Endgame style big fight scene, but it just doesn't feel earned or as impactful. It's cool, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's weird because a lot of people are singing the praise for this movie, and it's great. It's fun. It's good, but just not as good as I'd hope. The story is not really there for me, I guess. And
Okay.
I don't know.
Fair
I
enough.
had a good time. I'm going to see it again. I think maybe I was tired, so maybe that might have influenced it. So I'm definitely giving it another shot, and maybe I'll like it more. But I'm gonna give it currently. I'm gonna give it 2.5 slices of toast.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough.
So I'm intrigued to see what you have to say about it. And
Yeah. Oh,
I
yeah.
want to talk about all the things that happen, but it's hard not trying to spoil it. So
Yeah, which I appreciate. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to be checking that one out once I
definitely.
get back home.
So we took a little deviation from the con and went to a movie screening and surprise Q&A for a new movie called Speak No Evil.
Yes. So this is a remake of a Danish film that was released just a few years ago with the same title that revolved around two families starting off on vacation, meeting in this other place. One's very kind of prim and proper, very socially conscious. The other is just kind of more freewheeling, fun having, but rather brash, kind of
Mm.
wearing everything out in their sleeve. And they meet while on vacation, decide, oh yeah, no, like, oh, we're totally friends. Over the course of events, one comes to visit the other at their hometown, and
A secluded farm of sorts.
yes, and while in this location, of course, things start to seem a little off, and
Mm.
the things that seem kind of quirky and strange really slowly start ramping up, and come to find out, it is nothing is what it seems.
No.
These are not the people we think they are,
Mm-mm.
and we're
Although
trying to finally
the interesting thing, the wife of the visitor, she had many times like, I don't like this, we should go. But the husband is like, oh no, we're fine. They're just different from us.
Well, that's like what I was trying to say. It's trying to follow like normal social conventions is
Yeah.
what people would normally do, but when the other side isn't even giving you the
Mm-hmm.
base like normal, this is how you should respond to things. I liked seeing that sort of twist of just like, I mean, yeah, like as we heard in the audience, a lot of people, of course, you would think you would just naturally just do this, but
And they do some things that you would think, all right, I should do that, but then
Yeah.
there's reasons why it gets undone.
but you know, like in reality, a lot of people wouldn't. I don't care what
No,
people
yeah.
say they would do.
It's easy when you're in the shit, you're not thinking
You're not
straight.
exactly.
You're just doing what you think you got to do, and you're not. Yeah.
So this builds up to this big crescendo of this like very intense and to me very entertaining confrontation
Mm-hmm.
between the two families. And when it's finally revealed what's been going on, I mean,
it's intense,
gnarly.
and it's like leading up to that, this movie plays like a comedy a little bit and a drama at sorts.
Yeah, it's I would say it's definitely a thriller 1st
Mhm.
with comedic elements that has this dark tone lying underneath everything, and that dark tone slowly gets louder and louder and louder and louder until it finally just hits you in the face.
Yeah.
And the comedy is gone.
And the interesting thing here is, you have the two different families.
Mhm.
So you have like this really the brash family, but the couple are really in love. And then you have the typical regular family, but there's this turmoil. There's something kind of wedging them
They
apart.
come in with some baggage.
Yeah.
It takes some time for them to finally reveal it to the audience.
So it's like you can see kind of sides from each angle, which
Mhm.
is nice. And you really don't know where it's going to go moment to moment, which is kind of fun and exciting.
Yeah.
And it's just really riveting, and it flies by. It's not dull and like slow pace nor slow burn like you'd
Mhm.
expect. I don't know.
And I would say one of the cool things right out the gate is starring some actors that we're big fans of.
Yeah.
Scoot McNairy,
Oh, love him.
and
Mackenzie Davis,
who-
Halt and Catch Fire.
Yeah, that was just that alone. I was already excited about. James McAvoy is the husband of the other family, and then for the life of me, I cannot.
No,
I don't know how to
I don't know.
pronounce her name.
I don't know who the
I have
wife
it.
is,
No, I
but
have
she
it
was
written.
a great actress.
And
the little kids were
Asling
pretty good.
Francoisi, or whatever.
Yeah,
but
that's a very spot on way to say the last name.
they did a good job of playing the two couples of
Mhm.
like both are believable to a certain point, or like to certain respect.
Degrees,
Yeah, it's like you've totally met these people before, but as like the heat gets turned up, that's where that drama starts
yes.
to build up, and they do such a good job. And it's like I would expect nothing less from these people.
Mm.
Just the because we were immediately talking about it on the drive out after the movie of just
I
they
wish
did
we were recording
such a
some of that
good job.
conversation. Yeah.
No, I mean it's that incremental turning of the dial that
Uh-huh.
it's never nothing ever moves too fast or it never falls back.
But
It's
it's
just
always increasing.
always slowly
Uh-huh.
turning, and that's what the whole movie feels like. And I know the term slow burn gets tossed around a lot by me on the show, but this is like a great example of what that should be. You know, it's it like I said, it never backpedals. It never
No.
runs too fast. But man, you go from uh, a slow walk at the beginning to introduce you to the story
A
to a fucking
to a
sprint at the end,
run.
and
Yeah.
it was an entertaining film. That was a good time.
It's funny. I remember seeing the trailer a few weeks ago. I'm like, that looks good. And then after we watched it, like I said, I just went to see Deadpool, and then I saw the trailer again, and it played so different. I'm like, they're almost giving this whole movie away in the trailer,
Yeah,
but it's still leading to finding out all the bits in between. That's really
Yes.
interesting.
That's really where the third act kicks in. Even once you know where it's going, because I will agree. I feel like the trailer almost is a little too much. I think you can infer a lot if you just
Mm,
let it simmer, like just
yes.
let the bubbles boil in the pot. Like, you know, I would rather it held a little more back, but it don't get me wrong, it doesn't tell you enough, of course. But and yeah, that was a fun time, man.
Really,
And then we had a
really
little
good.
surprise at the end.
Yeah, the director came out. McKinsey came out.
James came out,
Yeah,
and they had a fun Q&A with the audience. They got some very strong bass reactions from the
we
audience.
were in a very active
Oh my god,
audience,
very, and it was
but it
completely
was
full.
what you got a lot of emotions you want out of it, but
Yeah,
then you also got a lot of things that's like, shut the fuck up.
yeah, nothing like a rowdy group of we thought we were seeing a free movie, and now
Mhm.
we get to yell at the main cast, tell them how fucking cool they are.
Yeah,
So that got a little old after a while, but it was so cool to see them so appreciative of that attention, and then just that insight they were able to offer of what they were laying out on the screen for
and
us.
what was made very clear to us was the fact that this movie deviates a lot from the original film, so you're not going to see a shot for shot remake.
Well,
You're going to get
in
something.
particular, the end. They
Yeah,
focus very much on how the film resolved, which I mean, we kind of made a guess at whatever that might be, but now I would like you said,
I
I
want
want
to
to
see it.
watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to see the original Danish one now.
And it's funny because while we were in line waiting to see this, we are just laughing at the fucking title being so generic. And you're like, oh, there was one a year ago. I'm like, that's not surprising. It's just such a dumb title. And then it's like, oh no, this was
That
based
was
on
the
that.
movie.
But it was a different take, I guess. Which and there was reverence and respect for the original. It
Mhm.
sounds like from the creatives.
Yeah, yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I going from a trailer where I thought you were showing too much of the story and the movie getting going, I'm like, okay, I'm a little let's see where this goes. To I holy shit, I knew right away I want to take my wife to see this when this comes out in
Yeah.
theaters. Excuse me. It was a lot of fun. It's very good, intriguing thriller. And then just the cast is just knocking it out of the park. They're doing exactly what they should be doing. James McAvoy is playing this character with a great level of duality that just
Yeah, you wanna like him, but you wanna hate him, and then like and it fluctuates the whole time,
yeah,
which is kind of
yeah.
cool.
He terms you back for a minute just to fucking repulse you again.
And the
And
irony here, uh, s the 2 main characters apparently are kinda like James is more like the other guy in real life, and
Scoot and
Scoot's
James
more
are like
like
the
the
inverse of each
character
other.
that he's playing. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
and they're
That
both giving great everyone's giving great
As
performances.
always.
Yeah.
That's why I love Scoot McNairy. But same with Mackenzie Davis. I mean,
Uh-huh.
that lady just
She was a
murders everything she's
badass
in.
and
And
literally murders things in this.
that's right.
Maybe.
Maybe not.
Oh man, so I think I'd give it
It's a goose. She murders a goose.
way to ruin it. Uh I, I think I'm gonna give it 4 slices. I
Fuck.
liked it.
I'm,
I had no flaws.
I'll give it 3.5. I'll give it
All
3.5
right.
slices. It's solid. Little funk, I think, just like the way they decided to go about it. But like, I still think it's a fun time. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know. It's that like holdback of just like something would keep me
Fair
from
enough.
a 4, but 3.5 slices, man.
It's not a bad
It is a
score.
fucking solid film. That was a
Yeah.
lot of fun.
So please check that out when it comes out in
Yes.
September.
That is worth-
September 13th, it's coming.
That's worth the ticket price for sure.
Yeah. But be prepared. You're probably going to get a lot of reactions from the audience if they're anything like ours. See it with a group of people, I think, because
Yeah.
you'll really be immersed.
That would be
Or
fun.
see it alone because it'd be quiet and creepy. I don't know. Oh, boy. We're at that time, Dennis.
Yes, sir. I know we packed this one full, folks. Thank you for bearing with us.
It's a long
But as always, we'd like to let you know about this little thing we'd like to do in December. That is Movie Toast the Festival.
Oh,
I think
yes.
is what we call it.
The normal deadline has ended, and now we're in like Uber. Like you got a couple of weeks left. It's slightly more money to submit, but it's still pennies on the dollars compared to other festivals. And we got a lot of cool shit, and we
Yes.
want to see a few more cool things.
If you got a short film that is just itching to get out in front of some eyes, please submit to filmfreeway.com/movie toast the festival, and we would love to check out what you got. And you never know, you just might make it into the festival, and a lot of people get to check out your work.
Yeah,
It's just a lot of fun collaborative effort of sharing some very incredible, talented filmmakers' works of art that they're trying to get out to the world. And it's just a fun hangout. It's a
And
live stream you can watch.
you don't
from
got to leave your
anywhere.
home. Yeah,
Yep, we do it right on YouTube.
free.
So it's there's no charge. Invite your friends to the link. You will hear from the specific date from our socials, which will be right there. That is right.
Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, wherever, any of the big places.
That's right. It's the handle at movie_toast.
Or just search Movie Toast News and Reviews too. You'll find us.
Yeah, we will be there.
New things, clips of the show, reviews, reactions, different things. It's a fun time. But honestly, if you like the show, if you don't like the show, let us know what you think about it over on Apple Podcasts, please.
Yeah, this is a lot of good. We just want to try to hone the show and get it down to something that you would enjoy to watch. Tell us what's right, what's wrong. Just please be honest and give us your review, and we'll do the best we can to give you that delicious toast you keep coming back for.
But you don't want to do any of that. We get it. But there's one thing we ask.
Please.
Stay. As I'm looking for our outro music.
They're the kings of the real. Reviewing new movies, they keep it real. Coast to coast, from LA to the east. On the podcast show, they feast on the beast. Adam's bringing knowledge like he's Professor X. Dennis with cuts deeper than Wolverine's claws. I guess Marvel, DC, they know them all by heart. Breaking down the plot, tearing every scene apart. They got the juice like Tarantino's Pulp Fiction. Breaking down movies with a sharp precision. Adam coming in hot like a John Wick hit. Dennis bringing the heat like the climax of a Tarzan flip.
Climaxing Tarzans. No. As they do.
You remember a few episodes ago, I reviewed a movie called
Yeah, it was a good one.
You remember that one? God, I'm forgetting the title. It was a silent horror movie. Something nature, a violent nature. The movie that had like you were in the POV most of the time of the killer.
I do remember
And
that.
how much I did not really enjoy that movie. Well, it was announced at Comic-Con. They're getting a sequel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The movie Adam doesn't like.
All of them get
There's
sequels,
another
but
one.
movies I like, they don't get sequels. It's bullshit.
Sure.
I feel like I can't drag this one out anymore. It's an
Yeah.
hour and 23 minutes. Thank you all very much.
Appreciate
Hopefully,
you joining us, folks.
yeah. Talk to you next time. Sit.